Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Altered Script. I'm gonna read a book I wrote called Variant under the pen name J.R. Bouchard. I came up with this idea because The Walking Dead's original series was ending and Stan Lee had just passed, so there's gonna be no more X-Men. Well, no more X-Men worth of shit. Um, The Walking Dead is pretty much just spread the fuck out, and the story is kind of fucking lame now. Uh, so I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a book of something that I have never seen done and see how it goes. So I came up with the Variant, and I published it through Author House, which they told me they helped that movie Legally Blonde with Reese Witherspoon way back in the early 2000s. So I took a gamble, and I mean, they at least do the books, and they print and send, because a bunch of my people that I know actually ordered the book and they actually did get the book. So if you would like to get this book, simply go to any browser and put in Variant. It's up on the screen now, just like that. By J.R. Bouchard, which is up right here. And this should come up. If you see this character on the front of the cover, you know you have the right book. So here it is right here. It is 142 pages. It's not long because I figured I don't want to keep people wrapped up in long books that they're not gonna enjoy because it's too long. So without further ado, guys, if you want to support the channel and kind of just help me get motivated to make more videos, you can help by subscribing. Put on your notifications because I will be hopefully doing a video for every chapter of this book, since I guess nobody has really the money to buy the book right now. So I said, you know what, I don't have money for advertising. I actually spent like 500 and nothing really happened. I didn't see my book anywhere. It's like I just spent a whole bunch of money on nothing. So I was like, how can I get my book out there without having to pay anybody? And I was like, wow, my YouTube channel. Stupid me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into chapter 1, the start. He was just another run-of-the-mill nerd who loved comic books and anime. He went to school on time, never skipped class. He always did what his parents told him to do, but that could all change in the blink of an eye. One morning, bright and early, before the sun rose, a young man was walking to school, lost in thought about the upcoming history exam. The next moment, a van pulled up beside the young boy, as several large men jumped out before dragging him inside. He tried to scream, but they covered his mouth and held him down, blindfolding the boy. He faintly hears a girl's voice yelling in the distance, "Brandon! Stop it! Don't touch him!" "Get him in, moron!" screamed one of the men as Brandon felt hands pulling on his legs. "We can't be seen." "I think we have a problem then," exclaimed another man. "That little girl just saw us, and you're sitting there barking orders." The van drove for what felt like hours, and Brandon had no idea where they were taking him. Finally, they arrived at what sounded like a large complex, dragged inside the building and thrown into a small room. The door was locked, and he was left alone in the cold, dark space. Brandon tried to make sense of what was happening to him. Why would anybody want to take him? Was this a mistake? But before he could come up with any answers, one of the men returned with a small needle in hand. The boy was able to see him after trying to get the blindfold off his face. The man injected the needle into Brandon's arm as he felt a sharp pain before everything went dark. When he woke up, he was on a dirty, broken bed in a strange room surrounded by weird machines. The last thing he remembered was being dragged into a van outside of the school. Panic set in as he realized this was a kidnapping. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, he looked around and saw dead bodies scattered around the room. The smell of death filled his nostrils as he gagged. Brandon tried to scream for help, but his mouth was gagged. Tears streamed down his face as he realized he was alone, trapped and helpless. He tried to move, but his hands and feet were tied to the bed. Suddenly, a door creaked open. Brandon froze. A slender figure stepped inside as he held his breath. It was a young Asian teenage girl. She looked familiar, but he could not place her. She approached him cautiously, her eyes scanning him. The young man tried to speak, but the gag muffled his words. The girl spoke softly. "Don't be afraid. I will not hurt you. My name is Ming. I was asked to find you." Brandon's heart raced as he realized he was not alone. He felt a glimmer of hope, but he did not trust her. She sounded like the voice he heard right before being pulled into the van. He had to get out of there, and he may have to do it alone. He struggled against his restraints, but they would not budge. Ming watched him for a moment before saying, "You were turned, right? You're part of their experiment now." Brandon froze. What did she know? He had never heard of any experiments involving kidnapping. "When I get these untied," she whispered, "I want you to stay with me, okay?" Brandon cannot believe his luck. Someone was trying to help him. Ming moved to untie his restraints, but she heard footsteps in the hallway. She quickly retied the ropes and hid behind the door. A man entered the room, dressed in a white lab coat. He approached the bed, looking down at Brandon. "Good! You're awake," he said. "We have some tests to run." Brandon tried to speak, but the man held up a hand. "Do not bother trying to escape. The restraints are too strong. Just relax, and this will all be over soon." As the man turned to leave, Ming darted out from behind the door and hit him with a tray. He fell to the ground unconscious. "Come on," she said, untying Brandon's restraints. "We have to go." They ran out of the room and down the hallway, trying to find a way out. "What is going on?" said a frightened Brandon, now looking for something to wear as he was now in a hospital gown. "Why did they take me?" "No time to think about that now. Can you walk? We must get out of here." They turned a corner and saw a door at the end of the hallway. Ming ran ahead and pushed it open. Ming ran ahead and pushed it open. They appeared in a courtyard, surrounded by the high walls. "How do we get out of here?" Brandon asked. Ming pointed to a ladder leaning against the walls. They climbed the ladder and reached to the top of the wall. They could see the city skyline in the distance. Brandon felt a sense of relief wash over him. They had made it out. He turned to thank Ming, but she was already climbing down the other side of the wall. "Wait," he called after her. "Where are you going?" Ming paused and looked back at him. "I have to go back," she said. "There are others in there who may need my help." "Where do I go?" asked Brandon, looking around at the carnage that was now the streets of the city. "Where are we?" "Follow the road into the city. I'll try to catch up." And with that, she disappeared over the wall. Brandon stood there for a moment, stunned by Ming's bravery. Brandon ran as fast as he could through the dark and dreary alleyways. His captors were right behind him. Their angry shouts filled the night air. He had no idea where he was going, but he knew that he had to keep running if he wanted to survive. As he turned a corner, he ran into a group of survivors. They were a ragtag bunch, armed with makeshift weapons and a fierce determination to survive in this post-apocalyptic world. Their leader, Peter, looked at him with interest. "You look like you could use some help," Peter said, his voice low and commanding. "Come with us." Brandon swallowed hard as he followed the men, hoping that they would not kill him, but protect him from his pursuers. As they made their way through the ruined city, Peter began to speak. "You're lucky you ran into us," Peter said. I have a special ability. I have a special ability. I can control the minds of anything I want. It's a gift that has saved us many times." "A gift?" "Yes. It's like having two lives or more all at once. Like mind control? Yes, you could say that. It has its advantages. Come now, Brandon. We must get off the streets before the real danger finds us. Brandon was skeptical, but he had no reason to doubt Peter. He had already seen how well the survivors worked together and how determined they were to survive. As they walked, Brandon suddenly heard approaching footsteps, but the group kept walking on as Brandon walked behind them. Brandon's heart leapt into his throat as he worried it was his captors, ready to place him back in the room. But before he could do anything, Ming appeared out of nowhere. She motioned for Brandon to follow her. She had saved him once before. She quickly grabbed his arm and pulled him away from Peter's group unnoticed. Come on, Ming said. We have to get away from any living people. Why? He was one of the people I was to save. Does not look like he needs saving. I'm also not getting paid enough to take on large groups for one person. Brandon followed Ming, grateful for getting him away from a mistake to come. He thought that he could trust her more than Peter's group, and that she may protect him from any danger that they might meet. Together, they made their way out of the ruined city and into the wilderness beyond. Brandon knew that he had been lucky to survive, and that he owed his life to Ming for helping him along the way. He knew that he would never forget what she had done for him and kept her safe as well. We must find somewhere to call home, ordered Ming, hiding near a tree, looking for any danger. The night is almost here. I should get home, replied Brandon, wanting to turn around and walk the other direction. My parents must be worried about me. Your parents are dead, or might be, replied Ming, looking at a small cabin in the distance. I don't know, but we cannot go back, only forward. Why would they be dead? The world is not how it was this morning. Just take that as an answer, please. This makes no sense. I must go home. We will, but not now. I promise we will find a way back there when the mission is complete. That's the end of chapter 1. If you guys want to hear more and keep up with the story, please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the story, please hit that like button. And if you know anybody that would like this story as well, go ahead and share it with them. It'd be very much appreciated. I don't expect anybody to do any of those, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.